Hi everyone, welcome to the Navigate Credit Union Broadcast Center for the 4 o'clock Go Local Live show. I'm your Go Local Live host, Rachel Nunes. Our first guest today is John Simmons. He's here from RIPEC. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure, thank you.
So the news just came out just a few days ago that Bob Woodward will be speaking at your 75th meeting. Woodward's kind of a hot buzzword right now.
Well, he's an icon as a Pulitzer Prize award-winning writer, journalist for nearly over 40 years. And so that was our purpose in inviting him to our speak as a keynote speaker on our 75th anniversary annual meeting, because he brings, I think, an expertise and a knowledge and a presence and an approach to how he looks at government, particularly on governance and how the issues to which we have been researching as well over many years about how government works. So we felt that he was a very good mix and match with RIPEC for our 75th anniversary or 75th annual meeting.
Of course, and of course, Woodward's new book is set to come out just a week from now. Some very explosive allegations coming from that as well. Do you think that will be discussed at the meeting as well?
Well, my instinct will be a question and answer. I would assume that would be part of the question and answer. He will be talking about generally the governance issue of presidency over the last 30 or 40 years, matching up some of the investigative issues that have occurred since Nixon. His book is similar to ones he's written on about 7 other presidents, and so he's been doing this. So we believe it'll be part of the discussion. It's not the primary piece. Ours is more of his historical view of government over the last 30 or 40 years and how it's changed. How media is being treated currently will be part of the discussion as well.
Of course, and Woodward's legacy and what he stands for really does align a lot with a lot of your main tenets as an organization.
Yes, so we didn't want to be so presumptive of being similar to how he approaches it, but we generally approach it the same way. We try to do very documented research, and we come with a set of things as we understand it to be facts of what we've seen, and we present those regardless of how people may receive it. And we seem similar in that way, and that's one of the reasons why we are inclined to invite him, because his documentation and his reputation for it is, I guess, there's no one else similar to him.
Of course. And so speaking a little bit about your organization as well, tell us a little bit about some of the specific work you do. You mentioned you do research and well thought out research for.
Yes, so our mission is to promote effective and efficient government. So we look at governmental structure, whether it's a review, for instance, of how Rhode Island compares in spending and revenues, how it looks as labor statistics, which will be issuing a report within a week on sort of labor data analysis on Rhode Island over the last 20 years, going forward another 10 or so years in the future. We'll do the basic research on a whole host of government issues, workforce, education, training, the environment, like I said, the economic environment within the state that we'll look at as well. We then look at specific projects for municipal governments and for the state itself. For instance, we're a part of there's a cost control committee that was just formed by the Office of Health Insurance Commissioner that we're a part of it as well.
And you mentioned as well, speaking about the role of media, especially right now in connection with the presidency and the movement of fake news and all that. How does your organization work with the media here in Rhode Island?
Well, we do have a relationship with the media. We think we're a source for conversation, a source for information, sort of a non-biased, non-partisan way of approaching it. So we like to work with media as we promote the research that we have, that we'll issue. We'll work with the media on how to actually have it out fully so people can take a look at it. But we like to have the media informed, and if they want data, research on items, that we would be prepared and have done it in the past.
And so speaking a little bit more about the dinner, who else, excuse me, will be speaking at this event?
We have invited the governor, the Senate president, and the speaker. They'll be there as well to speak. We also have 2 public service awards. One is on a state official and one is a local government official. And we've been issuing them for about 40 years on what we refer to as a public service awards. And they'll be also attending as well.
Fantastic. And this event is it's also to raise money for the organization.
Yes, that's our hope. Yes.
And is the event open to the public?
You have to purchase a ticket. We do invite governmental officials to attend the event. But if anybody wants to buy a ticket or a table, they just contact us. We are actually, on our press release, that we have a place that they can go to buy tickets, or they can call us directly for a table or for their tickets.
And how much are tickets to the event?
It's $300 for a ticket for the event, and we then sell tables for businesses, our membership, to host public officials and for themselves. And that varies upon the size of the table and the sponsorship.
Fantastic. And so speaking a little bit about who are some of the past people you've had speaking at your events?
Well, we had last year, or I should say starting a while ago, we actually had Ben Bernanke come, we had Arnie Duncan, Ezra Klein, we had a variety of people over the last several years, each with a particular approach to where we are on what we want to have presented to our annual meeting, sort of a subject matter. Arnie Duncan was on education. Ben Bernanke was the chair of the Federal Reserve. He spoke about the debt of the state, or the debt of the country. So that's the type of speakers that we've had.
And speaking about Woodward a little more, at this time, it seems a timely time to have him speak, considering everything that's going on in politics right now. Did that play into your decision?
Yes, we felt that he was bringing a particular perspective at a very timely fashion for us here in Rhode Island and nationally. We understood that a book was coming. We weren't sure all what was in the book, but we understood the book was coming that would talk about the governance issues now, and there was a longer history of it as well to be contained in the book. So we felt that he was very timely as for the information that he would talk about and his perspective. Because again, he goes back to like 1971, covering the presidency. It's the eighth or ninth book that he's written on the presidency. None of the presidents, I guess, who have appreciated his work after it's done. So it's been a nonpartisan presentation of the presidency.
Of course. And speaking a little bit about your research a little more, what's some of the major research that you've conducted this year?
This year would be on the labor economics and labor data that we're going to issue shortly. We've done a lot of work on the legislative session in the last year, but this one will be a starting of a little bit different information for us. We'll be doing some labor data on history of where industrial sectors have been in Rhode Island, the types of income generation from it, the types of education requirements for many of the layers of industrial sectors within the state. We'll go on to how Rhode Island compares. We're going to do an analysis of all the referendums that are going on to the November ballot, and we'll be doing then a whole series of reports on the business climate within the state, the tax climate within the state, educational issues that we'll be looking at, in particular higher ed and other areas. So we'll be looking at that to bolster, I think, people's knowledge of the economy and the nature of the economy in Rhode Island.
And that'll be coming up through the election and beyond.
Yes, we have a whole series of events that we'll have on releases over the next 6, 7, 8 months. We wait a little bit because of the session, the General Assembly session occurring in January, alters the issues of the day. It's always something, one or two issues will come to the forefront in the General Assembly session beginning in January. We don't know which they are as of yet, but we do know that there will be 2 or 3 issues that we'll have to spend a little bit more time on.
Fantastic. And how long has your organization been here in Rhode Island?
We've been here for 75 years. This will be one of the major milestones of an organization like RIPEC that survived for 75 years and is still productive in its work, and we continue hopefully to be around for another 75 years. I hope to be along with it as well for another 75 would be nice. But
well, we'll be sure to have you back here in the studio 75 years from today.
Right, yes, we'll all be there because we're so far away now from our office and yours. So. Yeah, good.
Great. Well, and so the event, well, when is it taking place?
It'll be October 1st. It starts around 5:30. With our first event, and then we'll go into the dinner itself and the annual meeting, to which we elect our officers for RIPEC for another year, the board of directors for 3 years, and we'll elect all the officers as well for RIPEC.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Today.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it, and everyone, I'm sure, is very interested to see what Bob Woodward has to say about the American presidency, and also everyone's anxiously awaiting the release of his explosive new book.
Yeah, we will as well. I think it'll be an interesting book. We've only seen so far the excerpts that have been allowed out of the book. It's some 500 pages, and so we're going to be interested to see what else is in the book. But our emphasis is on more of how he approaches the governance, how he approaches the review of it, as opposed to the political issues or the policy issues, and that's where his strength is, about how it's being conducted. So we're going to be interested to see how it looks from backwards from now to everyone at the presidencies from the last 30 or 40 years.
I'm sure it'll be extremely interesting to hear his
Well,
insights.
thank you, and hopefully you'll be there as well.
Hopefully. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We really
You're
do
welcome.
appreciate it.
Thank
John
you.
Simmons here from RIPEC, and we'll be right back here on Go Local Live with our next guest.
Thank you.